Joining me now is Michael Waldman, president of the Brennan Center for Justice at NYU School of Law, and the author of The Second Amendment, a biography, a new book about the Second Amendment and its role in our society. Michael, we've been listening to Fred Guttenberg and now to Maddie, the survivors, but it really does, as Mr. Guttenberg said, all come down to the role of guns.
Yes, and Mr. Guttenberg and so many of the other survivors and their families have been so sensible about all of this. There were signals missed, there were cracks in the system, but the reason our country has this problem is that we allow weapons of war, such as assault weapons, to be sold freely. And it's quite a remarkable moment to have the public's attention and maybe policymakers' attention turn, as it has, to this unacceptable situation.
And Michael, in your book, as you talk about the history of the Second Amendment, how do you try to correct the record, if you will, about what the Second Amendment permits and what it doesn't permit?
Well, the Second Amendment was written at a time when people were worried about the state militias being crushed by the central government under the new Constitution. Those militias did involve everybody who was a white man, who was an adult, having a weapon by law. It's a very, very different time. The U.S. Supreme Court did not rule that that Second Amendment reflects an individual right to gun ownership until less than a decade ago, in 2008. And even since then, courts all over the country have said the Second Amendment still allows strong regulation and laws about guns. Overwhelmingly, strong gun laws have been upheld, and all of the proposals of which I'm aware that have been made in the wake of this shooting would be pretty clearly constitutional under the current doctrine as the Supreme Court has allowed it to develop.
Michael Waldman, thank you so much. The book is The Second Amendment, and we will continue to this conversation.